morning. I am very pleased to be joined by Council President Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, who is the sponsor of this legislation, along with Councilwoman Ricky Spector, who carried the water. Do you have any right now? For this new pawnbroker reporting regulations. I'm going to be brief, but I really want to just touch and highlight on a couple points, and then allow Council President Rawlings-Blake to speak more in detail of the legislation. But what I'm excited about as relates to this effort is Baltimore City had a very good reporting process in place, but this now expands that, and it's a regional effort. So we are so pleased that we are joined by members of the police department in Prince George's County, Montgomery, Howard County, Anne Arundel County, the Baltimore City Police Department pawn shop unit, as well as others, for this collaboration, because it's bigger than just what happens in Baltimore City. And as many of you know, a number of the crimes that are committed here in the city that impacts individuals on a daily basis cross boundaries, not just what's stolen in one jurisdiction stays in that jurisdiction, but it does come over into other jurisdiction and has an impact. And so this regulation will help strengthen our efforts in a tremendous way. So I want to thank my colleagues on the council for their efforts, as well as the regional effort that took place in Annapolis to make this possible. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Council President Rawlings-Blake to speak on the legislation, and then we'll sign it.
Perfect. Hello, and thank you very much for being here today. First, I would like to thank Mayor Dixon and Police Commissioner Bielfeld for supporting this important legislation. It will be the model for the state. And I would like to thank both of them for working so closely with the City Council to make this happen. Jim Green, the Deputy Legal Counsel at the Police Department, did a wonderful job of helping to coordinate testimony in favor of the bill, including bringing our law enforcement neighbors in the Washington region to testify about the benefits of electronic reporting. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank my council colleagues, particularly Councilwoman Spector, the Dean of the Council, who did her part as a member of the Judiciary and Legislative Investigations Committee to make sure that this happened. I'd like to thank Larry Klimovitz, Executive Director of the Baltimore Metropolitan Council. Thank you very much for helping to kickstart this effort by providing the grant to the Baltimore Police Department to help purchase this essential database software, the regional pawn shop database software. Again, thank you very much for that. This is truly a regional effort to reduce property crime. And I'd finally like to personally thank all of our law enforcement partners in our neighboring jurisdictions who have joined us today and who have supported this regional effort for quite some time. Thank you so much. That was the hearing for this legislation was one of the most powerful hearings I've been to because of that regional effort. It's very important that you know how significant your participation was in this process. I am convinced that this new investigative tool will help police recover stolen property, locate criminal suspects, as well as solve more crimes in Baltimore and in the region. This system will also enable police in neighboring jurisdictions to recover property that is stolen in one of the surrounding counties and later fenced in Baltimore City pawn shops and secondhand stores. By mandating daily electronic reporting of pawn and secondhand transactions, we are eliminating an antiquated paper record system that was very difficult to search. You should have heard some of those stories at the hearing. It was sad that in 2008 we were forcing our investigators to basically thumb through hundreds and hundreds of papers. You might as well try to find a needle in a haystack. So this will greatly reduce the amount of time that police detectives spend sifting through paper records and filing them. This means that more time can be spent investigating, solving crimes, and making arrests, and returning valuable personal property to our citizens. And my family experienced this not too long ago. My mother's house was burglarized, and it was very difficult. And let me just say, the police, don't get me wrong, they were very supportive, very cooperative. They tried to do everything they could to reconnect her to her property, and it was still an onerous process. So I know that this will really have an impact on the lives of people in our city. A similar system is up and running in the Washington region, and police from those different jurisdictions are working together to solve property crimes and recovering millions of dollars worth of stolen property. It is also my sincere hope that this local bill will become a model for statewide legislation in the next session. Such a measure has a broad support in local government, and many members of the General Assembly understand the need for a consistent statewide reporting system. In fact, many in the pawn shop industry itself could support a similar statewide initiative. So I look forward to working with Mayor Dixon, local law enforcement, and our state delegation to move this legislation forward on a statewide level. It is critical that law enforcement in every jurisdiction have immediate electronic access to pawn and secondhand transaction data so the police can investigate property crimes more effectively. Thank you again, every single one of you, for being here. Thank you again, Mayor Dixon, for fully supporting this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Rawlings-Blake, and we'll sign the bill. Sure, please.
Go ahead.
I just would like to add, as the representative to the Maryland Association of Counties, and my colleague Jim Kraft as a representative to the Maryland Municipal League, we have used what Jim Green from our police department, working with his partners around the state, as a model. And it'll have a top priority, Madam Mayor, Madam President, in how we lobby the legislature this session on having a uniform bill that will benefit all the citizens of Baltimore. And we are using what we did in Baltimore City as the model for the scrap metal theft problem and the pawn shop electronic reporting. So I appreciate very much, and I know Jim will benefit from the priority that NACO and MML will be giving to the General Assembly by adding their support to our efforts.
Definitely, thank you. I think that this will definitely make the process a lot easier to get it passed as a state legislature. So we look forward to it. Thank you.
Two more.
Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Let's do a photograph first.
Oh, I was on this.
On this?
Yeah, could you just talk a little bit more about why it's important for this to become a statewide effort? Why the legislation was forward?
Because when the thefts takes place, it cross boundary lines, and so when something happens in Montgomery County or in another part of the state, it can end up, you know, it's sort of like what we're doing with our whole gun laws. I mean, items end up in other parts of the state, and so if you have a consistent reinforcement of the same type of database where we're talking to each other, it makes it easier to get access back to those properties that people lose. So it also doesn't segregate Baltimore in having one system and the other jurisdictions in having other systems.